perfectionism and why this is actually costing you clients. So, if you're anything like I was in the past, you hold yourself to a really high standard. I thought that things needed to be perfect. I thought that I could always be doing it better. I was extremely critical of myself. I was comparing myself to everyone around me, comparing myself to how they were doing in their careers. And I just always felt like I was falling short. I always felt like everyone else was doing better. And I kind of had this feeling like where I was like, well, if everyone is doing so much better than me, like why do this? Even though like on some level, like I knew I was good at what I was doing, but I was just so hard on myself and so critical and always like was like, this could be better. If you were just better, then you would be having more opportunities. And I thought that this attitude was helping me. And a lot of my clients that I work with, they have the same thing where they're like, well, no, it needs to be perfect before I put it out, or I need to have this thing done before I can launch my business, or I need to have my website perfect before I can start getting clients, or I just need to keep working on this or redoing it, or like getting different branding. And they think they're doing the right thing because they're like, well, I just need it to be perfect before I put it out there. But the thing is this is slowing you down and it's not helping you. People don't need to have things be perfect before they buy from you. Um, like they need it to they need to understand how it's relevant to them. They need to know that you can solve their problem. They need to know that they can trust you. Do they need your website to be perfect? Absolutely not. Like sometimes people even don't get to your website before they buy from you, or like whatever it is you're telling yourself that needs to be perfect before you can really put this out there. That procrastination is just allowing you to avoid another feeling. So basically, we don't procrastinate because we don't actually have enough time to do everything. Like it's not a time management problem. It's about like the feelings that we're trying to avoid. So when we keep procrastinating and telling ourselves like, "Oh, I just need this to be perfect before that I put it out," you're really just trying to avoid the feeling of feeling uncomfortable, that like you have to put something out there, you have to be vulnerable, like someone might judge you, what are your friends and family gonna think, like all the things. And you're so afraid to get it wrong that it's like you end up not taking any action at all and just fully missing any opportunities that were there for you. So this is how perfectionism really is damaging you, because you end up not taking the action that you need to take. You're not doing the things you need to do. You're like hiding in those tasks that, yes, they could keep you busy for a really long time, but they're not actually going to move the needle. They're not going to get you clients. Nobody has been like, oh my God, your website is so perfect and that's what made me want to work with you. Like, I'm not going to say that those things don't matter, but the amount of time that we spend on them, that's the thing where it's like if you're hiding from those activities that are really going to get you clients because you're telling yourself that you need something else to be perfect, then you're really missing the boat and you're leaving money on the table because you're missing these opportunities. And other entrepreneurs are there and they're not worrying about things being perfect, and so they're snapping up those opportunities because they're there and they're consistent and they're showing up. And actually, by default, over time, when you do something consistently, you end up becoming a lot better at it anyways. So if you're willing to like do the shitty first draft, or like do the like version of it that is not perfect, but you like are confident enough in yourself to put it out there because you're like, look, it's good enough for now, and when I can do better, I'll do better the next time. But I'm going to focus more on like the revenue generating activities in my business, and that does not include redoing your brand colors or like redoing your fonts or getting the perfect YouTube banner. Like, I'm not going to say those things don't matter, but like the thing that matters most is how much you can help people, and you're in the business of solving problems. So people just want to know that you can solve their problem, and they don't really care if your brand colors are perfect. So perfectionism ends up hurting you by telling you that you're not good enough, so you have to overcompensate in all these other ways, and you don't deserve to take up space, and that you just being you is not enough, which is totally a lie because you are. And if you're like most of the people I work with who get into business, it's because they want to help people. So it's like you're not good enough. You are good enough exactly as you are, but you need to be able to see it first, so you stop wasting all your time on these activities or being critical of yourself that are not actually moving your business forwards. So while you might not be able to feel like you can release your perfectionism overnight, nothing happens overnight for the most part. It's like the daily consistent actions that you take that really get you to where you want to go. It's not the one thing that you do or don't do in a day. It's like if you want to have a new body, you go to the gym every day and you eat a certain way every day, and you do that for a period of time. And the same thing is true for when you're building your business. It's not what you do in one single moment. It's what you're willing to do consistently over time, and how you're willing to show up over time. And that's really the thing that is going to get you the results that you want. So when you it like to get these changes to happen, people usually they focus on behavior. They're like, okay, well, I just need to do this and I need to do this, but it's like, okay, but who are you being? And so when you're thinking about who you're being, you have to get into like the values of that person who you want to be, because goals are one thing, but goals don't they motivate you to a certain extent, but your goals are actually going to be motivated by your values. Like the reason you set a goal is because you value something, so that's why you're doing the goal. So when you want to really create a change, instead of like changing your behavior and trying to be like, okay, well, I will just do things that feel uncomfortable to me, like that's not really, not that that's not a good thing to do, but when you really want to create an actual permanent lasting change in yourself, you need to change your values. So instead of having the value of like self-protection and trying to like keep yourself safe as a priority, you need to shift your values to valuing like growth, valuing progress, valuing consistency. Like there's this motto, and I'm sure you guys are so tired of me saying it, but it's like fail fast and fail forward and fail often. And this is so important because they actually have done studies, and the moments that you quote unquote fail, I don't really believe in failure, I just think you have feedback, but the times that you get it wrong, your brain is actually rewiring itself, and it feels uncomfortable, but you're rewiring your brain to be better at what you're doing. So when you get it wrong, it's actually a really great learning opportunity for you to like change your brain into being better at that thing. And that same opportunity doesn't necessarily come when you're already like doing something you're comfortable with. So it's actually really advantageous to you to get it wrong, because then if you can get over yourself and how you view yourself enough to know that it's okay and safe to get things wrong, even if that wasn't always the case for you, you can choose right now that it is okay for you to get it wrong, and that you getting it wrong means that you're going to get it right later. So you need to start valuing like that consistency and progress and moving forwards. And if you're just always doing what feels comfortable to you, you're not progressing. Like that's not moving forwards. So, and you also need to change like the value of it being about yourself and making yourself like service focused and focused on others. Because when you stop thinking about like, oh, how are other people going to see me, and start thinking about like, how can I help other people, it becomes less about you and more how you can help other people. And then it starts to be selfish for you to keep your stuff to yourself, or procrastinate on sales, or procrastinate on putting things out because you're scared of what people will think with you. Think about you. So if you're like really focused on what other people think about you, like you're costing yourself clients, you're costing yourself money, you're costing yourself invisibility and opportunities. Most of the time people do not buy things the first time they see it. They buy stuff when they have had time to build a relationship with the person selling it, especially if you're a personal brand. They see you frequently, you're showing up a lot, you seem to be everywhere, and then they start to build that trust with you. There is, I forget the name of it, but there's a name for like the more you see someone, especially like in video, and the more you interact with them, the more like top of mind you are for that person. So when you're going out there and selling something, especially in such a noisy world, well, do you think like the entrepreneur that puts out like one YouTube video a month because they're too scared or they're spending too much time trying to get it perfect is going to be more memorable than the entrepreneur who is like putting something out every single day for like 4 weeks, and even though maybe their video quality isn't like cinema quality, but they're still there and they're sharing content and they're being consistent? Like, which one do you think is gonna get better results? Like the person who is showing up every single day, even though it's not perfect, and they know that they're just gonna get better at doing it over time, and as their audience grows and they make more money because they're being consistent, they can afford better video gear or like someone to do their editing for them. So you can really see how like that perfectionism slows you down. It's costing you money, it's costing you opportunities, you're basically leaving money on the table table when you're spending too much time trying to get things perfect and telling yourself that's what's holding you back from really like going all in and taking action. So people can't form that relationship with you if you're not showing up. So basically, you need to shift your values away from being so like self-focused on like what other people think of you, and shift it into being of service, being consistent, and valuing growth instead. And then also just realizing like the person who shows up the most and is there the most is the person who's going to get better. And the better you are, the more effective you are, the more clients you're going to get. So it's a win-win situation. So if this is something that you're struggling with, book in a free strategy call with me. We can chat about how we can help you overcome it. I hope you have an incredible day, and I will talk to you soon.